Hi, this is Dr. Katie Thompson with the Health Improvement Center. I wanted to let you all know that I'm a little late in the game, but May is Women's Health Month, and I thought I would tell you my story of why I do what I do for nutrition. I may have told it before, but I think it's poignant with it being May and being Women's Health Month. So, let's see where to start. The beginning would be good. So what happened was at age 13, I was having horrible menstrual cramps right from the start. And so my mom took me to the GYN and he put me on the pill. I didn't think anything of it. My mom and I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't like I was sexually active at age 13. And it wasn't for that, but it was to control the horrific cramps. So I was on the pill from age 13 to age 30. At age 30, I'm like, I'm done with this. I know I don't want to have kids, so I have my tubes tied. And I was out in New Mexico. I'd come back here at age 30, but before that, I was out in New Mexico and I had gone off the pill and I felt so much better. I was getting myself in shape. I was exercising regularly and not on the pill. And it was just amazing how much better I felt. I didn't know that I didn't feel well until I went off the pill. So when I came here, I decided that it was time for me to just decide if I really wanted kids or not. And I decided I didn't. So I had my tubes tied. Then my cramps came back with full vengeance because when I was living out in New Mexico, they had stopped. I was eating better, etc. And they just completely stopped. I'm like, yay. So I come back here, they start again. So this went on for years. I finally got them under control when someone told me about nutrition response testing and I saw a practitioner who was doing it at the time. He was up in Pennsylvania, McMurray, Pennsylvania. So I went and saw him and he put me on a nutritional program. The biggest out point for me was my diet, and I hadn't gotten to the point that I was ready to change my diet. Then I got to the point that I was ready to change my diet. And once I did, I started to improve. I still had cramps, but not the mind-numbing. You know, if worse is a 10, it was a 12. So the mind-numbing cramps eased, but I still had trouble. So this continued on, and now I'm 50, and here's what's happening now is I don't have a period regularly. The last period I had was in November. Then it came back and lasted for 4 weeks. It stopped for 2 weeks and started again and lasted another 2 weeks. So I became extremely anemic. I went and saw a practitioner, and she helped me get on a good nutritional program. And I've really been working on cleaning up my diet, went on the keto program, and found that by going on the keto, well, actually I was on keto when my menstrual cycle started back. And the only thing I can think of on the keto, when you're losing weight, you lose estrogen that's stored in your fat. So this is just my viewpoint. I think that when I stopped my cycle in November, I wasn't on keto. I was kind of partially on it, but not really. I didn't get really full board until February, and that's when my cycle came back on. And I think it was because I was dumping a lot of estrogen out of my fat. So that happened, and that created, I'm bleeding for that long. It's just it gets you feeling very weak. I was anemic. The medical solutions to this were, one, get a DNC, which is basically they go in and they scrape you out. The problem with that is, one, I didn't want to undergo surgery, but two, a colleague of mine who is a GYN nurse said that when you have that done, then what happens, the first sign of uterine cancer is bleeding. You don't get that necessarily, and then you don't catch it. That's a possibility. So I was like, nope, not for me. The other option was have everything pulled out. And friends would say, oh, you should just get it removed. I'm like, no, I'm going to die with the organs I was that I had when I was born. So Then I did a nutrition. I consulted with a colleague of mine over the phone, and she was so helpful. Her name is Dr. Rhonda Nelson, so shoot out to Rhonda, thank you very much. And she said, Katie, this is just what's going to happen again, probably. And as I said, my GYN solution, the third solution actually was double up on the pill to get the menstrual cycle to stop. So talking with Dr. Rhonda, she actually made sense, because she said, okay, this is gonna happen again. And I wasn't so much worried about bleeding as I was, what the heck is happening? And she goes, Katie, this is gonna happen again, just forewarning you. And I'm like, okay, but now I have the tools to handle it, as opposed to being the effect of it when it would happen and I'd just get really upset. Now I have the tools to handle it if it does happen again. I'm on a nutritional program to handle the anemia, so that's helping. And what was described to me, and this is a great description. So when you're anemic, think of the red blood cells as little inner tubes. So here's the inner tube, okay? Let's say that's the inner tube. The iron is a little man that sits inside the inner tube. So not only do you have to fix the inner tube itself, but you have to fix the little man inside the inner tube, which is the iron. So I'm on a supplement called chlorophyll complex to help the inner tube, and then I'm on Ferrofood to help the little man that sits in, which is the iron. And I'm definitely feeling better. I don't think that I'm back up to my normal self, but I'm definitely feeling better. After basically 6 weeks of bleeding, it can take a little bit out of you. So the long and the short of the reason I was telling you this is there are women out there that are suffering, and probably are suffering with the same thing I am. That's why I really got into nutrition, was one, to handle myself, but I figured if I have it, I know there are other people that do. And I just want to offer help and hope to people who have the same kind of things I do. I can't be the only one that has it. So I hope this gives you some information that you can use. Again, I'm Dr. Katie Thompson with the Health Improvement Center, and thanks for tuning in.